I spent almost over my budget in January, and these are the areas where I spent in. Hello everybody, I'm going to be doing a kind of a mid to end of January budget update with you guys. I'm not going to go over what I put in for each budget category because the conversion rate is really weird, but I will be going over with you the categories that I did go over this month with the reasons why and kind of everything in between. So let's get started. Hi guys, I wanted to quickly put an insert here. As a disclaimer, I do have a lazy eye, and so therefore if I'm not focusing the camera, I really can't help it, but I hope you can understand and enjoy this video. So I do have like all my notes on my screen right here, so if I'm looking over this way, then you'll know that I'm just checking my notes. As a recap for what my goals for 2025 are, I wanted to invest $5,000 into the stock market, save at least $4,000 more in my emergency fund. I also wanted to spend less than I earn, and as well as wanted to have a successful low buy year. I do have another video where I do explain like my conditions for a low buy year, so you can go ahead and watch that. But today I'll be focusing on the categories that are overspent in. So I do use YNAB as my method of budgeting, and it's the one thing that actually works for me. I have used so many things over the years, Excel sheets, cash stuffing, and YNAB is the only thing that works for me. Unfortunately, there is a very high subscription fee, but the pros outweigh the cons. Just as an aside, I do budget from month to month, and so for this month we are not currently finished the month yet, but we still have a few days left, and I thought that why not just give you guys an update anyways. I'm gonna go over what I have done so far in regards to like my savings, my investments, and like everything in between, so you get an idea as to like where I'm at as well as where I overspent. For savings, I already auto deposited $100 into my savings account, and then $175 was already deposited into my investments. Another $25 will be deposited at the end of this month, and I'm leaving it to the very end of the month just in case I might need that cash later on. And then $100 will be deposited into my emergency fund. Right now, because we're not clearly at the end of the month just yet, I still have some pending transactions to go into my savings and investments, but for now I can definitely say that I am on track for my investment and savings goals. Now, there were a lot of unexpected and poorly planned expenses that came up this month. I will admit that a lot of things were going on and a lot of things slipped my mind. However, it does kind of reflect my budget. So the categories that I definitely forgot to budget for is my vacation and a bunch of medical expenses that came up. These were not expenses that I didn't know about. Like, I knew about them, I just kind of forgot about them. And so we're gonna go over each and every category that I overspent in. As an aside, I do live in South Korea, so I will be converting all of this money into US dollars just to make things easier to understand and make things more simple for you guys. My first category where I overspent is groceries. I overspent $164.71. So we went to Costco and we spent a lot of money there, and this is where we overspent our budget because we decided to buy things in bulk, especially meat, because it's not very cheap here in Korea. So Costco is the cheapest option for us. Because of the Lunar New Year, things are usually closed for a few days, and so we wanted to stock up, but also we did go overboard. However, our fridge is now stocked full of meat in a way that's good, in a way that's bad, because again, we have a fridge full of food, but now we did overspend on our budget. The next thing is vacation. We do have a trip planned at the end of the year. This is something that I completely forgot to budget for, and so I had to book the hotels really early because during the Golden Week, which is around October this year, a lot of hotels and flight tickets are booked up really quickly, and so I basically just kind of like rushed to book a hotel as soon as I could, which meant that not only did I not anticipate this expense because I just completely forgot about it, it also meant that I overspent in this category, and I overspent $159.63 for this month. Unfortunately, it will be a reoccurring expense because it did go on my credit card, but I am able to pay it off in installments, and that's what's happening for our hotel for the end of this year. I also overspent on pet food and pet supplies. $49.79 was overspent on pet food. And pet supplies, I overspent $20.34 because I was not only experimenting with the food that they were eating, but as well as I had to get like litter for them. For my discretionary spending, I overspent $19.73, which isn't bad. The next category that I overspent in was utilities. Heat and gas itself has become really expensive here in Korea due to a lot of factors, and so I definitely overspent on utilities just because I didn't budget it properly. So I overspent $15.61, mostly due to our gas bill and heating up the apartment. The next category is coffee, and I overspent $8.95, which isn't that bad, but you have to consider the fact that from Monday to Friday I do bring my coffee to work, but I do also like have a lot of dance classes outside of work as well. And so whenever I kind of leave work and I go to these classes, I do tend to buy myself and my partner a coffee or two, and that ends up adding up. And so I think coming forward for next month, we need to really be more consistent with our budget in this category, because it's more so like a want more than a need. Out of these 8 categories, how much did I overspend? $474.09. That's actually a very big number considering the exchange rate. It's honestly over 650,000 Korean won when you exchange it. So that is a lot of money that I've been not really taking into account in my budget. And so coming forward for next month, this is what I'll be doing to change up my budget and to be better at budgeting. So after hearing the breakdown of the 8 categories of where I overspent, it is pretty obvious that I need to really tweak my budget, especially coming into the next month. I am in an experimental phase where I'm seeing what works, what doesn't work, because I only started seriously budgeting in November 2024. So it's only been around like 2.5 months really since I started to really budget and really sat down and take a closer look as to what categories that I need to prioritize over what categories am I putting more priority in when I don't really need to. I am still experimenting, seeing what works for me, but it's obvious that I need to create more sinking funds, especially for medical expenses that I do know about but I just forget. I also need to make sure that I stop experimenting with my cat's food. I kind of just go all in when it comes to my cats, and so I'll just buy a box of canned food that I think they like. But cats being cats, they are very picky eaters, and so I need to really cut down on spending on their food without testing it out with them first. I think another easy one that I can adjust is the coffee spending, because me and my partner's schedules will be changing in February. I think we can cut down on coffee quite a bit. As for groceries, one of these surprise expenses or unplanned expenses was our Costco membership expiring, so that's a very small expense. But I think I also need to keep in mind of our Costco trips, because we started to realize the value in buying more meat at Costco, and so I really need to put that into consideration when making my February budget. Here are the changes that you can expect coming into the new month with my budget. I'm so happy to announce that we are moving from a single income to a dual income. We will still be in the experimental process as we are trying to navigate more money flowing in, but we are going to be adjusting our budget quite a bit. So you'll see more savings and investments happening. There will definitely be less overspent categories because we are working with a single income now coming into a dual income. That will change quite drastically. What I'm most excited about is being able to save a lot more and invest a lot more. Me and my partner, we do value investing quite a bit, and so that's what we will be prioritizing coming into February and onwards. With all of this in mind, I just wanted to emphasize that budgeting is a very hard process, and being able to budget correctly, it takes time. It takes a lot of experimental processes, and it takes a lot of getting to know what works for you and what doesn't. And all of this is to say that even though I did overspend on a lot of the budget categories, my spending habits has changed so much. I know that there are a lot of areas where I can improve on, but I just wanted to say that if you also overspent money in your categories like I did, don't beat yourself up, because the path to financial independence and financial freedom is that learning process, and nobody is perfect the first time they budget, so give yourself some grace. I also just recently got paid, so I'll be doing a paycheck breakdown in my next video, so please watch out for that. I will see you in my next one, and good luck budgeting. We are in this struggle bus together. Bye bye.